So, hello there, everyone. Welcome back to Cyberrail, and I hope you all are doing well. And I guess that you have seen that till now we have covered regarding the day 9 content. In the previous video, we have discussed for the its hands-on that comprises of the password attack, types of password attack, tools, and everything. So, till now we are on the week 3 day 9 content, which we have already covered. So, as coming on for forward, we are coming near to the ending of the week 3 module content, and that will be coming to an end with the day 10 content video. So in this particular video we are just going to discuss about the day 10 content, which is going to be regarding the malware threats, and I'll be showing you. Just give me a second, let me remove it from here so that I can show you what things we are going to learn and what things we are going to understand in this particular video regarding the day 10 content, which will lead us to the end of week 3 module. So moving on further, we will be particularly discussing in this particular video regarding the, just give me a second, guys. Let me write it down what content we are going to discuss in this particular video of the day 10 content. Day 10 content is basically about the malware threats. As we all know about the threats and we have heard about the malware threats. So in this particular video, what we are going to like cover up subtopics, which are going to be, like, you can say, the threats, intro to viruses, or you can say trojans, just give me a second, worms, and you can say threats, and you can say and many more viruses or malware threats that we are going to discuss in this particular video. So moving on further, we are if I'll be able to get some hands on for this particular session, I'll be coming up with the second part too, of this particular for the hands-on, as I have always promised that I will come up. But for the malware threats, it's a bit difficult for me to grab and take up some hands-on. But I'll try my best. If I'll be able to find some challenge related to malware threats on THM or HTB, I'll definitely come back with a hands-on. For now, we are just going to discuss about its malware threats theoretical part, and we are going to learn how we can perform, or how these viruses, trojans, and worm or threats can impact or harm our systems. So moving on further, firstly, before we proceed further with the subtopics intro to viruses and trojans and worms, etc., we are going to just cover up what are malware threats first. We are going to know what are malware threats, and as its name itself suggests, guys, malware threats. As you can see, malware is comprising of two words, or is made up of two words, you can say. That is malicious and software. So it is made up of two words, which is combiningly making it as malware. And threats, threats are the attacks or the persistent way of attacking the system. That's a threat. So malicious and software combiningly creates a word that is malware. That is known as what? Malware. So as it's these two words suggesting, malicious means a wrong activity or something fishy, you can say. Let me take an example so that I can explain you. Let's say malicious is something fishy, just give me a second, fishy, or you can say something suspicious, right? Suspicious, that is what, okay, suspicious, yeah. Something fishy or something suspicious, that is known to be the malicious thing. And for the software, as we install many kind of softwares into our system, like a Bob suite is a software, or you can say VirtualBox is a software, or Oracle VMware Box is a software. These are kind of software that we install into a particular system using any kind of sources on the web server, from the web server. So softwares are those, and combining them make, if something is fishy, and just give me a second, yeah, if any software is carrying any malicious uh, payload, payload, or you can say content, or a piece of code that can somehow you can say harm our system, is known to be the malicious software, which we actually call as malware. So that is what malware threats are. So that means malware threats are, you can say, something that are caused, okay, that are caused due to the malicious softwares that are known to be the malware threats. So moving on further, we are going to discuss about and these malicious software are kind of threats, guys. As I have mentioned, that these are something that are caused due to the installation of any malicious threats that can cause, just give me a second, that can uh, cause our data loss, or you can say that can lead to stealing of the data, corruption of the data, just give me a second, yeah, corruption of the data. And moving on further, it can also destroy our data somehow, just give me a second, I made a typing a typo error, yeah, destroy our data, or you can say may take over our devices, also may take over our devices, right? That is known to be a malicious software threat, known to be a malware threat also. So this is what basically a malware threat is stated to be, you can say. Just give me a second, yeah. So I hope this is pretty clear that what is malware threat, and now we are going to learn about the types of various, you can say, variants of malware threats. What we are going to learn are variants of malware threats, of malware threats, which are basically, number one, we can say virus. Number two, you can state as, you can say, worms. Just give me a second, yeah. Number three, it could be, you can say, trojans. And in this particular video, we are just going to discuss about all these variants of malware threats, which are particularly virus, worms, and trojans. So, and in this thing, we are also going to discuss that how viruses spread, or how worms spread, or how trojans spread, and what are the effects that they can lead us to. And also, we are going to discuss about the example of the particular worms or viruses or trojans. In that particular scenario, we'll be discussing about this particular thing, and we'll definitely understand how it can affect the system. So moving on further, we'll be first discussing about the virus is basically what, guys? It is a kind of malicious program. It is a kind of malicious program that attaches itself to legitimate software, to legitimate means legal, or you can say, or uh, you can also say legitimate as correct. Legitimate मतलब कि कुछ जो legal हो, which is legally in name of something. Legitimate, or you can say legitimate or correct files, that and files that basically spreads when the user when the user executes the just give me a second, when the user executes the legitimate file but is unknown that the virus is attached to it. So let's just take an example. Let's say this is a user's or a victim's system, and victim by chance installed some kind of software, or you can say some kind of, you can just, let's say, injected, you can say just installed, just give me a second, guys, I don't know, just give me a second, guys, injected Oh, sorry, just give me a sec. I made a mistake. Yeah. Victim system, and a victim installed or something, downloaded something which is malicious, but the user don't know. But the user don't know particularly about it. So that's how somehow you can say installed or downloaded. Yeah. Victim system, and a victim by chance somehow installed or downloaded something which is malicious, but the user don't know particularly about it, and that is particularly a, you can say, a virus. Just give me a second, why it is showing tantrums today, I don't know. Yeah, then it is a virus, which is basically a virus which somehow gets attached to the gets attached to the system, system's most important file, and whenever the person or the user, then whenever the person or the user, let's say when the user executed it with the original file, runs the virus that was installed by mistake, and that's how the virus work actually. So I hope this is clear that what a this is, let's say this is a victim system, and this victim by chance installed or downloaded something which is malicious, but the user don't know particularly about it, and that was actually known as to be the virus, and that virus gets attached to the system's most important file, let's say just any kind of confidential information regarding the user, that is could be a username or password file or something like that, and when the user executed it in particular, the original file runs, but the virus will also run with it by that was installed by mistake, and that's how the virus basically works. I hope this is clear. Now we are going to discuss about the effect and the spread of virus. How does the spread how does the virus spread how does the virus spread? Number one, virus can spread from the email attachments. Just give me a second. Email attachments, yeah, if there is any kind of email attachment that you have got through infected email attachment, that but that email attachment is infected with the virus, and that's how it may spread. Another thing that how it can spread is using the downloads, but if you have downloaded some malicious software, malicious or outdated, or you can say outdated or infected, you can say infective software, that can also lead to the installation of or spread of the virus. Number three, you can also say USB drive. With the help of the USB drive, it can also spread into your system. Let's say your USB drive is infected, and you just did what? You just injected it into your PC or system, and when you try to inject it, the virus would run. The virus would automatically spread. And that's how the spread of the virus takes place into your system, and you even don't get to know how the malicious software, that is virus, basically got spread into your system and is affecting your system. So what will be the effect if there is any kind of, you can say, spread of virus into your system? What is going to be the effect of this particular spread? Number one, you can say it is going to corrupt your file somehow. It might corrupt your files. Number two, it can also affect by slowing down, just give me a second, slowing down your system. And another thing that it could lead to is delete or stealing of data, deletion or stealing of the data from your system. and that's how it may affect your most important things into the system, and it may affect your work as well. So now coming on to its example, if we talk about the example of the virus, what could be the example of the virus? There is a very funny name virus that is really funny, guys. You might laugh about it, but it is what it is. I love you, you can say I love you virus. That came into existence in 2000, I guess. Yeah, it was into 2000s when this virus was detected, and this virus created a mess into the industry and into the various victim systems. This virus is particularly the example of the virus that was a malicious software that was launched into, or that was detected into the 2000s of the so that's all for the virus. Now moving on further, we are going to discuss about is worms. Worms. Don't think that I made up the name of the virus on my own. You guys can go and check about it. It's actually the name of the virus, so you can laugh over it, but take it serious because it was a virus earlier. Now talking about worms, worms is what, guys? Worms are a standalone virus. Are standalone virus. That means they do not need, just give me a second. Yeah, they do not need any kind of dependency uh, to spread into the system. They automatically replicates. They do what? They automatically replicates and harm the system. That is what worms are. Standalone is itself stating that they do not need to depend on some kind of software or system or particular thing, and they can automatically replicate themselves. They can replicate themselves and harm the system. They are self-replicated malwares. Self-replicated malwares. So now you might be thinking, they don't need any human action. So what does the self-replicated mean? Self-replicated means that they don't need any human existence or human actions to be performed. So this is basically the work of worm, is that they self-replicate themselves and perform into the system and harm the system. They don't need any human actions to be performed or to run across the network. So that's how worms are. And now if we talk about, as we talked about, let's say, uh, then now we will discuss about the spread of it. How do they basically spread? How do worms basically spread? How, just give me a second. Yeah, how do they basically spread? Yeah, how do they basically spread? The spread of the worms could be by, you can say, exploiting vulnerabilities, or you can say by exploiting vulnerabilities, or you can by say by weak network security. If there is a weak network security, guys, there might be chances now that they can install the worms, or they can just release they can the attackers can just release the worms, or a worm into the system, and just harm and steal the data. Exploiting vulnerabilities of, what you might be thinking, exploiting vulnerabilities of the software. If we are able to if we, or you can say, the attacker is able to exploit the vulnerabilities into the system, they can just be easily able to self-replicate and drop the worm into the system and steal the data whatever they wish to. That's how it can spread into your system and can create a mess or chaos into your system. Now moving on further, you might be thinking, after, how it could affect the system if there is this kind of spread possible. Effect of this particular system could be, like, you can say, it consumes a lots of bandwidth. When installed, when installed into your system, due to what your system gets lagged down and your system will slow down. Or you can also say it crashes the network. particularly it would crash your network, because if the bandwidth is consumed on a higher level, then there are chances that the network will definitely crash out. And if the network is crash out, there might be also the worm would also be able to spread ransomware that is also a kind of malware, which could also lead to monetary losses, which could also lead to monetary losses, right? If there would be monetary losses, this would be a huge loss, and that would affect the user, that would affect the either either, or the company itself, right? I guess you guys have pretty much got the idea that how it could affect and what it could lead to if there are these kind of possibilities of this worm leading to. So now moving on further, we'll discuss about the example of this particular worm. Example, just give me a second, guys. Yeah, okay. Example, if we talk about example of this particular, we have all heard about the WannaCry worm, because it was detected in 2017, and it was really famous at that time. It is a kind of ransom where people they're asking for asking people for a ransom, and they were creating kind of, you can say, encrypted keys and everything, that if you will give me a ransom, I'll just provide you the encrypted key of your data, and that was a WannaCry that was detected in 2017, that was really famous at that particular time. So I guess you guys might have known about it. So without wasting time, moving on further, I'll be just explaining you the preventions later on. I'll also tell you the preventions of all of these particular worms and viruses and trojans. Now here we are to discuss about the trojans. Trojans, yeah. What are trojans? Trojan horses is also a kind of malware, guys. Malware, which basically is disguised, which basically do is what? It disguise itself as a you can say legitimate software or program. As I already told you na, कि it would disguise itself, matlab to pretend to be a legitimate. Trojan basically do is what? It pretends to be a legitimate software or a program, that but it contains that could lead to trust issues. But because the system, because that code or program is containing the hidden malicious files and functions. So I guess this is clear, and you guys have understood what basically Trojan do is. Trojan, guys, basically do is that they pretend to be the legitimate or legal, or you can say true entity. Just give me a second. Legal or true entity. So that's how when a person trusts them, and allows them to function into their system, or install them in in their system, leading to installation of, you can say, installation of malicious function. Yeah, that is what the task of Trojan is. And how it could spread, how Trojan can actually spread into the system. Let's just say Trojan can spread into the system by, you can say, by fake software downloads. Fake software downloads, as I already mentioned, that they pretend to be legitimate, so there are chances that people would think it is legitimate software and they download, but it was actually a fake software download. So moving on further, how it can spread is also by phishing emails. Phishing emails, people send phishing emails consisting of so many malicious links or attachments, and that's how they can also create a lot of mess into this particular system. Then after that, what is the effect of that particular spread into the system? That is going to be effects, that is particularly, you can say, stealing of data. It could lead to a stealing of data, and it could affect the person or user or industry, or you can say a company particularly. And after that, you can say it creates a open it opens the back doors. What a person can do, what this trojan can do is basically open the back door, leading to the entrance of the particular attacker or hacker into your system, and which can create a mess, a big mess, guys, a big mess. And it can also allow remote access, if because if there is a remote access kind of system in a feature into particular software that the person have installed, or the user or company have installed, that this could lead to a remote access. And after getting a remote access, attacker can do whatever they wish to do with a particular system, or you can say the network. Now moving on further, we are going to discuss about is the particular example of Trojan is Zeus Trojan. Zeus Trojan. What is basically Zeus Trojan? Zeus Trojan was, guys, a banking Trojan that stores financial data, which basically stores the financial data from a particular system, or you can say a company, and that's how Zeus Trojan worked. I don't particularly remember when it was detected, and when we got to know about this use trojan. So but it was particularly for this thing. Now moving on further, we have about the preventions. If we talk about preventions for this particular, from these malware threats and attacks, or you can say trojan, viruses or worms, we are going to discuss one by one. Number one, we are going to discuss about the viruses, you can say viruses preventions. Number one prevention that we can use for viruses is to install antivirus software that can detect and understand the you can say the back functioning of your system, and get to know about the viruses. Moving on further, the second thing that we can do for viruses, to prevent from viruses, is, you can say, avoid unknown email attachments. In order to avoid email attachments, you can see if the email you're receiving is from a valid user or invalid user, and that's how you can prevent it. And moving on further, you can also do is keep software updated, keep software and OS updated, in order to prevent your system from the viruses. Next is about the worms. You can say how we can prevent our system from worms. Number one, you can do is, you can just patch security flows. Just give me a second. Yeah, security flows and flaws in software. If you found any kind of security flaw in your system, you can just patch it and update system, in order to prevent it from your prevent the worm from getting into your system. Moving on further, you can also enable IDS and firewall over your system, in order to detect any kind of malicious activity happening on your system, and firewall to route the packets only which are needed and which are not malicious. Moving on further, we have is third that you can use is strong network security, and that you can do is using, I have already told you, using the okay security using the IDS and firewall system, and Microsoft defenders, or you can say antivirus softwares. then comes the then comes the third thing, that is regarding the trojans. How you can prevent your system from trojans is, basically, you can do is, you can just uh, never download never you can just avoid downloading, you can just say avoid downloading the softwares from unknown, you can say from unknown sources. Only download systems or softwares from, you can say, valid and known sources, or you can say legitimate sources, in order to prevent your system from malicious softwares. Then moving on further, you can also scan the files with antivirus before opening, with antivirus before opening. Yeah. Next you can do is to avoid clicking suspicious file, means uh, check the suspicious file check for the suspicious files. And that's how you can prevent your system from any kind of malware threats. These are the basic prevention you can use for any kind of malware threats, or you can say malicious threats. That's how you can prevent your system from malicious softwares. And I have already told you about the malwares and trojan and worms, and also about the you can say virus. So I hope this topic is pretty clear and you guys have understood what are basically the malware threats. And we have also introduced you to the viruses, trojans, worms, and threats. Threats are basically the kind of attacks that happens on your system because of these malwares. So I hope this topic is pretty clear, and if you like the video guys, please do subscribe my channel, like the video, hit the like button, and also share it with your friends and colleagues so that they can also get a benefit out of it. And please do not forget to perform it in a legitimate way and a legal way. Do not perform it in a malicious way. It's a responsible task to do. So you can just tell about all these things to your friends and family members as well, so that they can also prevent it from happening into your system. And if you like the video, please drop down your precious comments. I would like to see you in the next video too. So till the time, take care guys, and bye bye, see you soon.